Hello guys. Before we actually start this video, yeah, Merry Christmas guys. Um also at the same time, I'm already starting the new design for Izuku, or more specifically Elden Ring version, in Azure Lane. The only problem is I'm still trying to find a perfect name for his ship, or more specifically, like the name of his ship, because I'm I'm still trying to find a way to make it somewhat make sense, but also make it not make sense in a way, because I'm more specifically going to make his ship, or the name of his, battleship or warship, named after a, instead of like a real life battleship or warship. Instead, it's going to be a mythological ship. In this case, I'm still pretty much confused on which one should I pick. Should I pick a Japanese one, or something more German, or the European styled, because Elden Ring is more European styled in I guess you can say game, which I know there's still some Japanese type weapons, like for example Rivers of Blood, but still. Anyway, so yeah, tomorrow, maybe, it's just a maybe, I might be able to finish up the design so I can finally start off that new series. So yeah, so let's continue on with this episode. More specifically, of Hollow's Heart. So yeah, let's begin, shall we, ladies and gents? So we would currently go back to where the worm and Izuku is, specifically in a large cave, as he's currently being forced to do something that he should probably not do, as the worm would start exploring his mouth as she slowly starts ripping off his clothes one by one. As while his Hyuhakusho, or I think that's the name, or Yukata, would slowly start being ripped apart, as Izuku, not able to grab onto his like Zanpakuto, would say to himself, "Damn it! Again, why can't I?" As while thinking this, he would say, "I'm the Ceros Espada, not some weak." As while saying this, the worm would slowly release him, as she would say, "Mate, mate, mate." As while saying this, her eyes would slowly start glowing a somewhat pinkish light, as she would slowly start to, and not really ripping off, but more like, actually, no, technically those are still a part of her, but still. So, anyway, as she would slowly start slinking her, yes, that specific part towards his sausage. Yeah, I'm not gonna be making this an 18 plus. Kind of, maybe. Just, anyway. So, as she slowly starts slinking it towards his man bit, he would notice something coming from the shadows of the cave, or more specifically, towards the entrance, as a blast of energy would destroy a part of the wall. Doing so, it would interrupt the worm, as she'd say, "Gah," as she would be confused, as she would look towards the entrance and would see Hera, and also the High Orc, also known as Yurini. As Yurini would say, uh, Izu, we're here," she would say, as she would be wielding up her axe. As the Chimera, aka Hera, would say, "We're here, and we're certainly not gonna let you touch him anymore," she would say. Obviously in her yandere personality, or snake personality. As Hera would slowly start creating electricity from one side, specifically from the goat-ish side, as she would slowly start creating flames, or reddish, almost crimson flames, from her dragon side, as she would say, "I'm gonna love burning you," she would say. As the worm would slowly start getting up, as she would start looking at her and would say, "Don't disturb mating," she would say. As she would start getting ready her in her battle stance. And if you're wondering why she's acting like this, not only is she's sort of the H word, it's actually canonically true in the actual series. I'm not joking. I even see the wiki. I even read the wiki, and apparently she acts like this all the freaking time, even though she's a part of the dragon species. Yeah. So, as she would launch into attack mode, and would start trying to, kill them. Not really kill them, but more like subdue them. She can, so that she can continue with doing whatever she wants to threat. Or, I meant Izuku. As, while she was distracted, as a now naked Izuku, which I will not be showing because because I don't want to be sent to the Shadow Realm. As Izuku would grab onto his Zanpakuto, saying to himself, "Alright guys, please, lend me your power." As after saying this, one person would come up, as this person would be revealed to be, revealing that of Ariniero Aruneri. Yes, I did say his actual name first try. Mostly thanks to, well, watching YouTube videos on how to actually say his name right. Arniero Arnureri. As he would say, I guess it's my turn. Though, these creatures are not even worth eating, he would say. As the two voices coming from both heads, which if you don't know, that is a sort of mask. Not like the mask that usual hollows have, but an actual mask. And when you rip it off, it reveals that he has like a sort of like test tube thing with two heads, which are that of his actual head or heads. As Arniero would allow him to use his Zanpakuto, known as Gluttoneria. After revealing Gluttoneria, the blade would slowly start changing and peeling, turning into several tentacles as it would open up, revealing some sort of worm-like mouth with a single red wriggling tongue. As Rex would say, I meant Izuku would say, I guess it's time for me to show you my powers then. As after saying that, he would go onto the ground as he would say, now, freeze. As slowly the ground would slowly start freezing up, mostly thanks to its special ability, which it essentially steals the powers of anybody, including that of, Shinigamis. Which technically it still comes from like Metastasia, I think that's the name of that hollow that he consumed during the time of like, Bleach. But more specifically, he did steal, or at least still has the powers of Metastasia. Sort of. It's more like coded into his being now. As he would start using the powers of a random Shinigami, which he borrowed. Actually, to more specifically, I won't be saying too much about it, but let's just say the Shinigami was a fugitive. I will be saying that. So, as after saying the name, or at least the release command, freeze, he would say the actual name of the Zanpakuto that he stole, or consumed. As he would say the name of the Zanpakuto that he consumed, saying, Yuki no Hikari. As after saying the name, it would reveal a storm of ice would slowly start enveloping him, as his body would be turned into half, I guess you could say half icy, but more or less it's more like snow with touches of ice. As a blade of pure ice would be lodged into his left side. Well, his, or should I say, the, Gluttoneria weapon, or Gluttoneria itself, would be on his right side. As he would be wielding that of Yuki no Hikari in his, left side, he would launch a blast of ice that rips through the cave. Doing so, it causes everybody to get out of there. or blast out of there specifically. Doing so, the now freezing and also cold worm would say, cold, she would say, as well saying this, the two others, specifically that of our girl, specifically that of our girl, Yurini would say, God, it feels cold. It's like the winter months, she would say. As Hera would say, yeah, extremely cold. So, this is the power of his other Sanpakto or whatever it's called. As after saying this, Izuku would come out of the cave, still naked, but he's covered with now the with Yuki no Hikari, as well. Well, like I guess you could say like a loincloth of like snow would be draped around him, as you would say, now allow me to show you the terror of what I am. As after saying that, he would start creating more snow and ice as it slowly starts becoming, I guess you could say spears of ice, as he would launch it towards the now somewhat pissed off worm, as the worm would try and rush him, getting ready to try and pin him to the ground and do something R-rated. Yes, and would try to try and do so, but yeah, they would stab toward I guess you could say ice spears would stab her right in the right in the tail and also her other limbs. Doing so, she would scream out in pain, which surprised the two other girls. As Hera would say, I may be mean, but that's still fucked up, she would say. As while saying this, Izuku would say, still though, as he would be somewhat uncomfortable being naked. Well, kind of naked. As you would currently see Yurini just looking at him. Take a guess why she's looking at him. So, after pinning the worm to to a tree or a nearby, tree, thanks to the help of the ice spears, he would say, so, as he would look towards the worm, as he would say, mind telling me why did you do that? He would say, obviously kind of annoyed, as she would say, mate, it hurts, she would say, as he would say, mate, as in, oh god, he would say, realizing what that meant, as one of them, specifically that of Hera, would say, yeah, unfortunately, it seems that it's her mating season. Oh god, that makes it even more worse. Said a somewhat annoyed dragon, the somewhat annoyed Hera's dragon personality. As the lion side would her, like the lion side of her would say, yeah, unfortunate. For now, we should probably just leave her there. Let's just go. Actually, as she would look towards Rex, or I meant Izuku, as she would say, we should probably try and find some clothes for you. As you'd say, you think? As she would say, actually, maybe a few more days before that, she would say. Now realizing that she's in her snake or perhaps goat personality. Which Yurini would say, yeah, let's do that later on. Saying that with a blushing face. As currently, our boy Izuku would just be annoyed. As currently, one of his, Zanpakuto spirits, specifically that of our boy Xylopolo Grans, as he would say, my, these girls are quite thirsty, he would say. As Izuku would say, what the heck is thirsty mean? As he would say, oh, it's just some modern slang that I learned a few years ago. As after hearing that, Izuku would say, whatever. We should probably find me some clothes soon. As Barragan would say, obviously, I will not have my grandson be getting a cold, he would say, as obviously annoyed and somewhat afraid for his quote-unquote grandson. And so we will end off this episode right off here. So yeah, so bye bye.